live button, so just in case if there's any comments, we'll see. There's not usually. However, just prepared to get going. So if Ananda's gonna join, I don't know. I feel stupid having a beer that you guys don't have first. So no, he
That's
gets to
fine.
catch up.
I'll grab one that you don't have.
I just turned on my desk lamp so you can actually see my face.
Hey, yeah, there you are.
Yeah, it's like the fucking smoking man from X-Files.
You're a bit less man in the shadows being interviewed about government conspiracies now. Bit happier about the situation. Can you imagine?
Am I not Mulder's father? That's the question.
Oh, that's a good question.
Did you watch X-Files?
I watched it on and off. It was on during its peak. It was on in my residence and university, and you'd kind of walk past the room, and everyone was, the first 15 minutes in, and there were some crazy people that were really right down to it, and I was just there to check out girls, so I was not paying attention to the show at all.
See, I was like a kid when it was on, right? But I never really liked. Like, I watched cartoons, like Saturday morning cartoons, but when it came to movies, I like RoboCop, Gremlins. When it came to shows like the late night things I probably shouldn't be watching, but stayed up late watching anyway.
Yeah.
And I remember, X-Files was one of those shows. I remember Tales from the Crypt. Remember that one?
I watched Tales from the Crypt. Yeah. No, wait.
I remember being a kid in elementary school, Friday night, having to stay up till midnight. In my room, I was a kid. I had a little black and white TV. Right? It was dated for the time, but I could watch TV on not a school night at like midnight. And I forget what channel it was, because it was back when Global was like, I think, MITV.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd watch Tales from the Crypt, and then when I got older, you could rent the VHS of it. And those were like, that and X-Files were like two cool late night shows.
I had a black and white cathode ray TV in my room as well, and I would stay up late and watch stand-up comedy shows.
Nice.
Same. We watched a lot of, in our household, we watched a lot of stand-up comedy, like a lot of Just for Laughs and all that. And I grew up also watching stand-up comedy. But have you watched Last One Laughing?
Yeah, I've only watched the Canadian version.
Yeah, that's the one. I've watched it twice now.
Oh my god, I didn't know it was a thing, and I think I saw just one face on it, and then it said, "Oh, you got to watch this." And it started with Jay Baruchel. No, what's Jay's name?
Baruchel. Jay Baruchel.
Baruchel, and he was the host, and then they started inviting the comics in. And the premise of it, and I'm just watching slowly as all of my heroes start slowly coming to this room, and I'm like, this is just my dream room conversation of people. There's, Colin Mockery is over there talking to Tom Green, who's talking to David Foley. Well, the other David Foley.
Yeah, the other one. Yeah.
The other David Foley. But they're all, and I'm like,
as though, like, there was like comedians I wasn't too big into that I've seen that have been in it for a while, and they're funny, and like Deborah Giovanni, and Caroline Ray. I remember her from Sabrina.
Oh yeah.
Remember, she was one of the aunts on Sabrina the Teenage Witch. She was
yeah, Hilda. I shouldn't know that. Yeah.
There was also Mae Martin, who does a lot of work in Britain, in the UK. She's on a lot of those British panel shows with like Jimmy Carr and that.
What was her name?
Mae Martin.
I probably recognize her. I can do names or faces most of the time.
May was the one with the short blonde hair.
She kind of looks a little like a young Ellen DeGeneres.
If you could, try to picture that. I hit the go live button a few minutes ago. We should probably get into some drinking beers, otherwise we're just wasting everyone's time. Ananda's going to catch up.
I didn't know we were live.
It's live enough, whatever. So I'll do the official start of everything. I am Russ. Joining me are my two friends, Keir and David, are joining me tonight. Ananda might be here soon, and together, drinking far less than I had planned because availabilities. We are attempting to drink Nova Scotia Dry. Now, these are as we are like to do. There are a lot of IPAs in the LC. Apparently, there are fewer IPAs than when I purchased mine, but there is a large variety of IPAs, like just standard IPAs at the LC. So we have nights like this where we try to get through as many of them as possible, which I'm going to do, but together we're going to drink 2 of them because the other ones weren't available and I don't know what's going on. Sick of it all.
You could sit and watch drink facts for a while, but that wouldn't be very entertaining.
Oh, that'll happen. Not to worry about that whatsoever. But Kier's been on the show before. In fact, Kier joined us for the 100th episode Century Club Challenge.
I remember that.
That
That
was-
was actually a fun time. I mean, it's always a fun time. Don't get me wrong, but that was a little different than what we normally. We did it was a shot of beer every minute.
For 100 minutes.
For 100 minutes, yeah.
We didn't finish. We couldn't get to it.
No.
So the 200th episode is coming up in January.
Set aside a weekend for that.
You kind of, yeah. I'm sort of, I'm getting prepared as best I can. But David has not been on the show before. Dave and I have been friends since being in theater a couple of years ago now, and we talk about beer here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, whenever we talk, beer is eventually mentioned.
Yep. Well, we've met up outside of theater. We mostly meet at the pub.
Yeah, pretty much.
Now I can't remember. Were you working shortly at Schoolhouse, or were you just?
Yeah,
you knew people there.
I worked at Schoolhouse Brewery for a few summers, 3 or 4 summers, because I used to work in a school basically. So the summers off, which was nice, and make a bit of extra money, get into the craft beer scene.
I thought you meant you could only work at Schoolhouse Brewery because you'd worked at a school. And you walked in saying, "Hello, I'm a school teacher. I'm here for work." And they're like, "No, we're not that kind of school." Oh man, this is going to take a minute to explain this to this poor guy.
It's like when you go in for the interview, it's like, what was your role at the school? I was the janitor. You're in.
I made the beer.
Clean up all the puke.
Yeah.
Which is what you'll do at Schoolhouse.
Oh, boo. And I think
I also worked out at Meander River.
Oh,
as
cool.
well, out in yeah. So
we've
only did like kind of a month and a half out there, but yeah, lovely little spot.
We've had a couple of there so far, and they're quite good. But when we talk about styles, though, like I know Kier is often invited to the IPA night because he's one of the only friends of mine that is more IPA. Yes, I really do like the IPAs. Where Ian and myself were always kind of like, pass on the IPAs. Can you bring me something like a brown ale, something a little bit more, I don't want to say robust, but just malt forward, I have learned, is what we prefer.
Yes.
Is a malt forward
Fair.
as opposed to a hop forward, but we're finding their tastes are rounded. And I think, Dave, we've talked about things, and you've said that you like a double IPA. I was like, oh, so you're a hop guy. And you say, no, not exactly.
Yeah, I'm pretty flexible, really. I know what I like, I know what I don't like, but I'm always willing to try something new. I don't like anything too kind of pilsnery lagery if it's not done well. You can get a lot of those which just taste water, like flavored water, So yeah, it's always a challenge to try and find something. There's been a couple actually around recently which have kind of come and gone, which were lovely, but yeah, always I mean from the west coast of Ireland originally, right? So and spending some time in England and been around Europe, so I've tried it all.
Do they drink beer in Ireland?
Every now and then.
That's what I thought. Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And usually, like, for me, I am a big IPA drinker because when I drink beer, it's like I want something that packs a little bit of a punch. Hence why I like Fax beer. I won't tell people like Fax beer is a great beer. You should try it. It's like, no, I just got accustomed to it. Like it's cheap and it's packs a punch. But like if I want to drink beer that I enjoy drinking Fax beer just because I just don't think about it. But
That's
like
fair.
IPAs, it's like I do like I am one of those IPA guys. Like I do like the taste because I like a little bit of punch to the taste. Like hits your tongue a little bit. But like I am a little bit like I'll drink a lager, and I'm not fussy about beer, right? I'm fussier about food, but I'm not fussy about beer.
Oh man, I'm not fussy about food at all.
If, if someone hands me like a Budweiser, a free Budweiser, I'm like fuck yeah, I'll drink it.
That's something I can't do. I look at a Budweiser and I get a hangover.
Oh really? I just get bored. I just feel immediately
Fair enough.
bored to my soul. Regardless,
It's a little.
the first one that we've got that we all do have, even Ananda who's not here yet, is from Lunn's Mill. Their first cut is just India Pale Ale, and it's funny. It should have been one of the go-tos in some of our, but there's just so many IPAs. Having a night where you have 4 or 5 or sometimes 6 IPAs, we still haven't got through all of the standards that are there in the LC. This is us coming down to the end of the list. We're almost done, but the description on the side of the can says the very first IPA we brewed here at Lunn's Mill. Citra and Simcoe hops pair up for a bright citrus flavor, and a hefty dry hop provides intense aroma, hazy, hoppy, happy. Oh, it's hazy. It doesn't tell me what the hefty dry hop is, though, unless hefty is the name of it. That doesn't give me a lot of information. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to start a little thing here, and Simcoe and Citra are in Lunn's Mill, because Ian and I were having, it was either double IPAs or triple IPAs or something like that a few weeks ago.
Oh.
So mine kind of fell out of the car when I bought them yesterday, and I was sort of hoping that they'd calmed down. And apparently, no, the world wasn't done throwing up on me yet, apparently. Whatever, that's fine. That's just gonna, you know what? This mess smells delicious.
I don't think I've had this one. I have not had this one.
If I had, it's been a while. It's not something I normally go out of my way for. But
it's not my first having a Lunn's Mills beer though. Like I've had a few of their beers before, and they do some pretty good IPAs.
I've had the Eclipse Black IPA. I've had the Purple Grain.
I've had the Purple Grain's one I've come back to a few times.
I don't like the Purple Grain because it's just that vegetable-y flavor of sour Brussels sprouts. Yum.
I don't mind it, but I also like the name because it's like a play off the Prince song, Purple Rain.
It's true.
And I do like Prince music.
That's fair.
Well, we've tried some
Sometimes
that were named after Radiohead songs, and I didn't like them, but that doesn't give me any that doesn't give them any advantage.
Sorry, say it again. I missed that.
Which? The Purple Grain?
Someone knocked at her front door, and I was like, and then you said something. I was like, shit.
Oh, I forgot, because I was reading Ian's in the chat commenting, having spent some time in Ireland, he can indeed confirm the beer has reached its shores and is slowly growing in popularity. There's Ananda. Cool, he's right on time. As I'm waiting for this to stop fizzing for the moment.
Yeah, when I opened mine, it just like the foam spilled out on my shirt.
Good evening, sir.
Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Evening.
We haven't tried a taste of it yet, but we've just cracked open the Lunn's Mill, and it has spilled all over me. And then I've done a quick check on the remainder of my beers, and apparently they are all quite firm. So I think everything's going to explode tonight. It'll go great. It does smell good.
Yeah, you can get that little bit of I got a little bit of that citrus aroma to it, which is nice. I really like that in a beer.
And hazy.
Yeah.
That happened to me.
I didn't think I shook those up that much in the walk from the car into the house, but here we are. Is beer good for
the first sip is very subtle. Like it's not overpowering, but
Oh, okay.
still has that IPA taste to it. Like pretty easy going down.
That's my other thing. Is if everything is an IPA, do they all taste similar, or is there our IPA is a little bit differently? Like, is there going to be something different? This was always the goal in a trying 4 IPAs in one night type of adventure.
I feel like I feel like sometimes what separate like there's different aspects. Like sometimes it's a little stronger tasting as an IPA, or maybe they might add a little bit more citrus or a little bit of a fruity taste to it, just to like because I mean IPAs have gotten quite popular in the last like what 10 years
Yeah.
or so. So they try to everyone's trying to all these breweries are trying to separate themselves and separate their IPAs from the competition and you know
I don't know. I feel like if there's a recipe and everyone's got to have this is our IPA, that's that recipe, that is everyone actually congealing together into one IPA flavor that everyone has.
I think for a
There's
lot of
like
places, I think for a lot of places that like when they're trying their first 1 or 2 batches of an IPA, one of them is going to come out really similar to a lot of the other ones. Like kind of what you're saying, like Ross, it'll be like everyone is getting that kind of hoppiness and not really sure where to go otherwise with that. But I've had them where they're, as Kier was saying, that kind of citrusy flavor that you might get, or the dry hop or the wet hop difference. You know, if you've had kind of piney ones before,
Yeah.
with a little bit of that kind of coming through. So
This always
Yeah.
brings up the big conversation of the popularity of IPAs and where's it going and what's next.
I mean,
and all the non IPA drinkers watching this are like, nah, that's not true.
I mean, speaking for myself, this one, it kind of reminded me a little bit of the Garrison Juicy IPA, like where it's got that really intense upfront fruity note. Where to me, this is like, I'd reach for this on a hot summer day, nicely
Yeah.
chilled. You know, it almost tastes like a Radler on its own because it's got so much of that sort of like grapefruity kind of teeny sweetness to it. But then if you use a different hops profile, you can get a totally different character, or some of them will kind of focus more on the malty end of things, like the Vickers Cross, which is another one I really like. It's got sort of a lot more depth and kind of molassesy, bready character to it. Where this is like, yeah, more of an ale in terms of its like body. Like it's got a lot of fizz to it. Obviously, it went crazy when I broke the seal. But also like it has that kind of lighter body that doesn't like coat your mouth as much as like a thicker, fuller beer like a brown or a stout.
But the bitter, there's so much bitter. I'm still tasting aftertaste of bitter, and it's that aftertaste that never kind of goes away. That's what I dislike about when someone says, "Here's an IPA." That's my fear.
I feel the aftertaste for me personally is less so compared to other IPAs. I feel this is like it's what is the percentage here? It's 5.7, right? So I mean, in all fairness, a lot of the IPAs I like to get are a little bit stronger, but like this, it's like the less strength they have, they focus more on flavor, and this one does focus quite a bit on flavor, but the aftertaste isn't quite as much because it's not as bitter. It doesn't punch the tongue as much, but which is all right. That's actually fine. Like, but yeah, they focus more on flavor than I guess power or strength.
We must be drinking some hazies and some juicy IPAs, because I find the aftertaste on the bitter and the bite on the back end is overstaying its welcome, and I don't feel like I've had a beer that's done that in a while. Everything has been so smooth.
The juicy IPA is one of my go-tos. When I buy IPAs, I buy like different ones, like a 6-pack, 7-pack of like different IPAs, like grab a couple double IPAs or whatever. But the juicy is usually one of them, as well as the big spruce. But they're a little stronger, but
What's the Pleasant Disposition? Is that the big spruce one?
It's North.
Pardon?
True North?
North Brewing
Yeah.
does that one.
That
But
one was really
we found the Pleasant Disposition was a bit was like this. Here's the hop. It's kind of a basic. This one's got a bit more body to it. I like that, but it's a very familiar. Yeah, there's your citrus. Yeah, there's your the hop profile, and then the hop profile continues into this bitter aftertaste that never fully goes away. And the Pleasant Disposition did that for me. But North's other one is crazy. Their Malternate Reality.
That's one of my favorites.
Oh my god.
It's so tasty.
It's outstanding.
Have you guys tried? Oh, sorry.
No, just personally because I like it to have more of a malt profile and be all smoothed, and the combination of everything is there.
Have you tried Propeller's Leviathan? The
No.
10% IPA?
their IPAs. I've had the Galaxy and the Deepa. I'm a big fan of
Galaxy's good.
So
Yeah,
But I went to they don't have them in Wolfville, but they have them in the New Mines location.
Yeah.
And I know a few people. Like, I go to the liquor store a lot, so I know a lot of. They know me, I know them, and like they see what I buy. So every now and then, like one of them will be like, "Hey, you like 10%?" Propeller came out with this IPA that's 10%, and I was like, "They did what?" Like, so I only tried it once because you don't find it. So it's not super popular, but
I think
I
they
tried
put it as a dark of winter kind of thing.
yeah. But it was like it tasted really good. It was strong. It was like
It
it was like
it didn't
bitter and
taste
all
like
that.
strong. It didn't taste like a 10% beer.
No, and that like again, I drink a fair bit of facts that has no encouraging taste to it, but it tastes like 10% beer. Like,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
the Leviathan actually had like was a little bit smooth going down. It's you can tell it's a stronger beer, but
Only after you've had one. Like it was danger juice. We drank. We said, "How is this 10%?" And then after we drank, we finished our beer. We went, "Oh, yeah, that's okay." But it did not taste like a strong beer. It was a really smooth, hazy. Just if you'd have told me there was just a basic regular IPA. I've been served a couple of triple IPAs since, and every time I taste one, I think, "Oh, this is what I want." It's a regular IPA with a little bit of it's almost like a creaminess to it, and the hop profile's there, but there's a little bit of malt to mix with it, and it's not too bitter, and it's really smooth on the back end. And what's this? Oh, that's an 11%, basically malt liquor you're drinking right there. And I think, okay. Well,
I found that about the I can't remember the exact name of it. It was like Out of This World or something from Two Crows.
Space Words.
Space Words, that's the one. Makes more sense. Yeah, that was like 10 point something. I found that was like, oh, this is what, about 6.5? Like, nope.
Those were the two we had. We had a triple IPA night where Ian and I drank the Space Words, the 500 ml can, and then a 500 ml can of Leviathan. We were a little giggly at the end of that night, but the way we talk about it, we keep saying, okay, why did no one tell us that if you don't like IPAs, we just avoided things that someone says, well, try the double IPA. No. If I don't like the single IPA, why am I going to like the double IPA? And no one tells you, well, actually, the secret is that the more you multiply the PA, then suddenly everything is delicious. That makes no sense. Fill my glass.
and then like after 4, you're calling all your exes.
Yeah.
That's a slippery slope with those ones.
And that was it. It was danger juice. It's so dangerous. Where like here, like you say, you want something to taste strong, so you know how strong it is. Where I love like they do the whiskey casked ones, like the Scotch, the wee heavy Scotch ales, and they taste heavy. You drink it, and you're like, yep, whoo, that's a strong beer right there, and you can almost taste the shot of whiskey in there. But it gets dangerous when it's 10% and easy to drink.
I think I've only seen it once over here since I've been kind of paying attention, but the Innocent Gun did I think it was a rum cask one.
Yep.
That was one where it's like, okay, you're drinking something strong, but at the same time, it's like, I could have a second one.
I will take the blame for that one because every time I like something, it goes away.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. We've had that same experience at a place that we already mentioned that I used to work.
Man.
The show Firefly. The second we started liking it, it went away.
But what, during the first season?
That's my point. We only got one season of that. All right, like we could. Yes, I like the movie that they gave us at the end, but we could have 2 more seasons.
I got 5 seasons of Angel, the spinoff from Buffy, and I'm fine with that, even though it could have gone on longer.
So I watched Buffy recently. Holds up well, except I hate Xander, but I think that's understandable.
Yeah.
But I've never seen an episode of Angel, so I'm gonna have to get into that next.
Did you like the episodes of Buffy that were maybe like a little less bubblegum Scooby Doo?
A little darker, yeah.
Then
I also tried, like, I grew up like, but Buffy was aimed at my age demographic, right? And we never had cable growing up, so all my friends were watching Buffy. I didn't watch Buffy. I didn't get into Buffy until my mid-20s, and I really wanted to like it, and I didn't hate it because I thought it was a cool, like, a vampire hunting show, right? Like before there was Supernatural and all that. But it was who was the creator of Buffy again?
Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon. I thought he had this like level of cartoonish writing, like sometimes the dialogue, like it was like watching a comic book, right? But
I'll tell you something. I tell you something that I actually learned about that today, and I don't think it was Joss Whedon. I think it was one of the other guys. He was criticized for his writing on it. So they had an episode where basically everyone lost their voice because a demon stole voices, and they won like an Emmy for that episode or something like that.
Hush is one of the greatest episodes of television, and I will die on that hill.
That's hilarious. I just found that out today.
What show is this?
That's Buffy.
Okay.
Somewhere in season 4?
It's 3, maybe 3 or 4, yeah.
And at the very beginning of the episode, a couple of the characters have like 4 lines just talking to each other, and then everyone goes to bed, and during the night, these crazy demon things from another world, they enter into the town and they steal everyone's voices. And the plot is that there are these creatures called the Gentlemen, and they come one night and they steal everyone's voices because that's the only way to destroy them is with any vocal sound. Vocal sound destroys them. So then the second night they come back and they start abducting and killing victims. So this is the bad guy of the episode, but no one speaks for the whole thing.
It kind of reminds me of Doctor Who, the David Tennant era. An episode that always stuck out, like it's like this episode. I didn't finish Buffy. I only got a few seasons in, but I liked it.
I think that's probably best.
But but with Doctor Who, it reminds that episode kind of reminds me of the Don't Blink episode of Doctor Who. Remember with the Stone Angels?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like where it was a little bit different from the grain, right? Like David Tennant wasn't even in the episode very much. He just popped up every now and then, and there's the Stone Angels that are covering their eyes, you know what I mean? Like, do you remember this episode?
Oh, no, but I've seen memes of it. Is that the one where they hold their hands up like this and they have eyes drawn on their hands?
Sorry, I'm trying Pan's Labyrinth. I went and did almost set myself on fire with my cigarette, but
we're one beer in, calm down.
But it was like the main character of the episode was not a character that had ever been in any other episodes, right? It was just like Doctor Who was like a side character for this episode, but it was such a kind of a mind-bending episode, right? Like if the Stone Angels see you, they teleport you into the other plane of, timey-wimey stuff,
but
right?
They don't if you blink?
Or force by transferring you to an alternate dimension or something.
Yeah. So you see those stone angels, you never see them move, because if you look at them, they don't move. But the second you look away from them, they're getting closer to you. If they get close enough to you, they touch you. You
Well, that was
go into this
they got that
different
from The Shining, the book The Shining. But anyway,
Isn't there a playground game that works that way too? Like you turn around, and if you turn around and you see someone move, they're out.
It's either
And
red light, green light, or what time is it with Mr. Wolf? One of the others.
red light, green light episode. Except instead of being out of the game, you get sent to a different point in time.
You get sent to another dimension. So basically, the entirety of Doctor Who is just kids' games on the school ground, like Red Rover and Red Light, Green Light. And then if you lose, you go to another dimension.
Yeah. Great episode.
I'll try to watch this show. I didn't really enjoy the Lunn's Mill just because it was the basic IPA that I fear and like the least. I understand how it's like what an IPA lover is supposed to like, but no, I'm gonna be mean. That is like a 7.2 out of 10 for that one.
well, it did
That's
say
pretty high for not liking it.
Yeah.
It's
like-
drinkable. I drink it, but I still have the aftertaste.
See, I feel like I could serve this to a non-IPA fan without fear, because I'm not getting that like bitter kind of aftertaste you are. Like for me, it's got that like upfront bright citrusiness, but then it just kind of fades very quickly. Whereas some of them that we've had have that really sort of like grassy, evergreeny taste that sticks around like for quite a few seconds after you're done drinking it.
I'm like
not-
a minute and a half past, and I'm still getting it.
Interesting.
Like I said, I think I said this before. It's not an overwhelming IPA. Like Andy said, like this would be a beer to serve to someone who's non-IPA drinker. It's fairly light. It's like a beginner's IPA. I like it. It's passable. I'd give it a 7. Unlike Ross's 7.
Yeah, my 7 has so much more behind it. There's subtext in my 7.
Ross Bear said an 8 out of 10, apparently.
I give everything an 8 out of 10.
You are like the Roger Ebert of beer reviews for IPAs.
Yeah, I think like I'd score it a bit higher than a 7, but maybe not quite as high as an 8. You know, like a 7.75 or something.
Ooh, hundreds. I forgot. Ananda does hundreds. David, what do you think?
It's definitely something I'd drink again. I completely agree. It is something you could easily give to someone who's interested in craft beer but not wanting to be overpowered by it. You know, I get that like kind of citrusy start, and then the taste just kind of mellows for me on the tongue. Doesn't hit the back of the throat at all, which is nice. Yeah, I think kind of a solid. I mean, I think I'm one of the harsh people, and I'll just be very strict, and I'm like 6.8.
Okay.
You know.
Don't worry.
But my baseline is kind of like a 6, right? I start from there and then go up or down. So.
Well, we've got the Kilted IPA from the new Scotland Brewing Company. This is, in fact, I think the first one we've had, or that I've tried on here from the new Scotland Brewing Company, which feels bad. And they are, ooh, that's a good question. They are located,
Dartmouth.
Oh, they're in Dartmouth?
Yep.
Okay. We aren't afraid to
'Cause
make
they do
something.
they do quite a range of clothing as well.
Oh, they're the East Coast lifestyle of beer. That feels harsh.
They actually have very, very comfortable masks when we all needed masks.
Oh, well, okay.
I will say that.
Kilted IPA, it says on the can, is slightly bitter with a smooth, refreshing finish that leaves the palate wanting more, golden in color, and rounded out with American hops. Kilted is a tribute to the traditional West Coast IPA best enjoyed while wearing your favorite kilt. I have learned something about IPAs. If you say it's a hazy IPA, a juicy IPA, I've even got into black IPAs, rye IPAs, and my favorite, the champagne IPAs. Great. Soon as you mention West Coast IPA, I know I'm not going to like it because I have not liked a West Coast style yet. I don't like the style.
It's got a very intense smell to it, like very makes me spruce tips or something like that, or like juniper.
I need to open this over something because it might be huge. Oh, the one time I was prepared.
Very not fruity notes, more like on that herbaceous.
I'm getting a
scale.
Sweet off it though. Like a sugary sweetness off the nose.
I gotta say it tastes a little stronger than the last beer we had, but
Oh, it is up. I think 6.3.
Not by a whole much. Not by a whole lot, but
almost like a pine sap. Kind of a.
I am tasting more of a pine flavor to this one compared to the last one.
Right about golden in color though.
My lighting isn't as good here, but yeah.
Yours looks hazy.
I'm keeping my comments. I don't want to bias you all, but now that you've had your say, I really don't care for that at all.
This one?
Yeah, it's got like an really unpleasant. Maybe I just got a bad can or something, but it has like what you guys are describing as that sort of like piney note is coming across to me. Turpentine, like I get almost like a cleaner kind of.
There's a chemical flavor to that. Yeah, I'm getting what you're saying.
The way pine sol smells, that's what I'm tasting right now, and I'm not loving.
Oh. What we've found sometimes, the flavor does change if you get all of what's in the can into all of what's in the glass, because the last little bit of it sometimes there's like this if it settles in any way, you don't want to shake it up too much because then it explodes all over your face.
I guess
maybe that
me and Andy are drinking straight out of the can, and sometimes when you pour a lot of times when you pour a beer right into a glass, it brings a little air to it, brings a little robustness to it, so it exemplifies a lot of the flavors. But I am drinking it straight out of the can, so I'm not doing it the biggest service. Like you know, to really taste a beer, you want to drink it out of a pint glass, right? Like at the pub and all that.
And that's something. I mean, I've been working in the bar industry for 20-something years, and that is definitely something I can attest to. The right glass can make a difference for sure.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to learn which is the right glass for everything, and so when I go in, I try to go to the different the different breweries, and I get a pint glass from each one. I just try to mix it up, and I say, well, I don't have that shape yet. And then whatever I get from there, I put in that glass.
Personally, I really like the shape of like the classic Irish pint glasses at Paddy's, but that might just be nostalgia because Paddy's is where I had my first legal drink. And
the Nonic.
I'm with you on that one, Andy. Like Paddy's is pretty much our stomping ground.
It's iconic, if you're around here, you kind of know where you go.
Yeah, and I mean, fuck, man.
That like the shape you mean?
The Monday night open mics.
Yep.
Yeah. Glass like that, like
aeration to swallow ratio.
Yeah. No, I agree. They're even kind of grown up like that's what some of the old Guinness glasses were like.
Yeah.
And then they went and changed them and made the new fancy ones with all the curves and stuff. Sorry, not the old Guinness glasses. These were they're calling like basically Nonics. So the whole kind of thing behind them is that if they fell over on a bar, your beer wouldn't spill because it had that little lip on it.
Okay, I always kind of wondered that. I never thought about it, but I was like, oh yeah, there's that like little bump at the end. I was like, oh, that makes sense.
One of the
Yeah.
reasons I want to switch to being a full-time mead drinker is because I want to drink from a horn that has two little iron legs on one side. I want that to be my standard cup for drinking a beverage.
Is that a convenient way of drinking though?
I don't care. I don't think it's about convenience. I'm fairly certain it wouldn't fit in the dishwasher.
Okay, but you must also wear a horned helmet while you drink from it.
What did I learn? That those were made up.
Skyrim.
The
Most
it was
but-
one of those Norse stereotypes that's very wrong. Vikings didn't
It
wear
was a
horned
kind of
hats.
festival costume type of thing, basically.
Mm,
Yeah.
sometimes for like ceremonial stuff.
Yeah.
Than
maybe.
bring it into battle. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if you could get something with like elk antlers, spread out to a full palm, that would probably be more impressive. But anything just stapled to your hat.
Okay,
It's still something to people to grab on, though.
it would be have a bunch of daggers attached to your hat, basically. But also, I'm just thinking, how easy would it be to break somebody's neck if they had one of those on? Just grab
Exactly.
it.
Well, you got your bodyguards or your
Cannon fodder. The other people.
lick spittle, I think is the word I was thinking of. Your toadies that all hang out and make sure that you as the king don't die.
Oh yeah, it's like chess. Like you got your pawns. They're the frontline workers. They're the ones that take it, and and then you got the guy that makes the L shape, the knight that makes the L shape, and all that.
This is
Imagine
As you can tell, I'm not really good at chess.
this is one of my bishops. This is Simon. He only moves in a diagonal manner. He's a very complicated man. Stephen the knight.
He's a slightly off Catholic.
Just he crosses himself like that. Which I've learned that's known as the St. Andrew's Cross, an X.
Indeed.
Because
Indeed.
Andrew, one of the apostles, apostles, something like that, back when he was spreading the word as he went walking about, he ran up against some people who had an empire who weren't into the word, and they crucified him. But unlike Jesus, they crucified him on an X instead of a T. Because, like, I don't know, it's windier there or something.
Talking about Scotland, yeah.
Stick the other
Compared
stick
to-
the other leg of the T in the ground there, Pete, because this stuff's gonna blow down if in the tornado next week.
And then that eventually evolved into America's Got Talent, where they hit X's if you suck at your performance.
And instead of nailing you to an X, you just get a symbol.
They go. And Howie Mandel's super nice about how he tells you how you suck.
Simon Cowell is kind of a dick about it, but everybody loves him anyway. Not quite sure why.
I think people just like watching jerks on
British.
TV.
I think you may have hit on something.
Hopefully they like watching them on YouTube on Wednesday nights.
We're being way too nice.
I feel the British accent changes everything. Like when you see like a Canadian or American personality like criticize someone, like, oh man, what a dick. But when they have a British accent, like, no, they're right. They're a dick, but they're right.
I would
But
accept
it's
that.
just
That's
the
fine.
accent.
You'll have to check in with Ian the next time he's on.
I think he might get away with a lot more of telling people off with his British accent. Speaking of Ian, he has a question in the chat here. Kier, do you get a more distinguished tasting fax when you quaff it from a tall glass in the pub?
Well, they don't serve facts at the pub, unfortunately. Like you just gotta go to the liquor store and get those ones.
That's something you want to be drinking at home, ashamed slightly.
Yeah, because they are quite strong, but they're not always my go-to, but I mean they're cheap and they're strong. But when I go out, I get IPA. I get an IPA. Like if I go to Patty's, I'll get the get whatever IPA they have in a pint glass and have a good time, right? Like, but I've never been served a fax in a pint glass at a pub.
Have you ever poured a fax into a glass?
I have, but
Does it
I'm
just
pretty much pretending that the fax beer is more than what it is. You know what I mean? Like, this is a dirty fucking drink. Like, this is
what?
This is I know, like, it's like I want to have a couple after work or whatever, just to, like, you know.
It seems unfair to the glass.
It exactly, actually, like if I pour a drink if I pour a beer in a glass, I want to really taste the beer, enjoy it. Fax is pretty much the new Colt 45.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Colt 45 as you were talking about fax, wondering if you can in fact try Colt 45. And if anyone, over the age of 15 actually drinks it. I once knew a girl who had stretchers in her ears, and she put Colt 45 plugs in there.
Really?
Like, classy.
I'm going to regret asking this, but I'm going to need a
Oh.
clarification on Colt 45 plug.
So, like, how people will put spacers in their earlobes, like stretchers? She stretched her earlobes to the point where she could fit a Colt 45 bottle cap, like, the big old Jeroboam of shitty brown ale that we all got drunk on.
I don't think I've ever tried it. I know what malt liquor is, and so now I'm when the different breweries say, "Hey, we've got a barley wine," and I go, "Is that beer?" And they say, "Technically." So
it's a beer that's designed to just get you drunk for cheap.
Yeah.
There might be flavor, I don't know, but is a barley wine past a malt liquor, or is barley wine like the spacer to malt liquor, and then after malt liquor it's just lighter fluid?
Anything like 10% and up.
Yeah, I'd say barley wine is further than a malt liquor.
Damn.
I'd say.
Like a malt. Yeah, be sort of more in your like 8 to 11. I don't know what Colt 45 is. I don't know if it was even that strong.
I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is.
No, it was just a very dirty drink that was cheap.
It was just there and heavy and big.
I remember, like, you could buy like a quart of Colt 45 back in the day, right? Like, and it was a quart of beer, but it was like dirty beer, and you could drink it. Like, it was popular. Colt 45 was very popular in the Valley, like in my early 20s. Like, even I fucking bought it, like, just
it was cheap.
Yeah, I bought 2 bottles of Colt 45 with nickels and dimes one time.
And oh my god!
The person working the register fucking hated me. Like, that's
fair.
I didn't even have them rolled up. I just dumped them all on there, and we both worked together counting them out, and it came to like $12, and I got the 2 bottles of Colt 45, sorry. And I was like, I walked back to my apartment. I was like, I don't give a shit. Money is money, but like, I knew, like, that's a fucking pain. And there's like people behind me waiting. Like, here I'm counting out like fucking nickels and dimes and quarters and occasional loony. Just so, like, it was back when I was working at Pete's, and so I could go back and have drink some beer and play some video games and smoke some weed, right?
James from Party Time Brewing is in the chat, and he is impressed with your $4.35. He thinks that's a great deal, and I have to agree. That's pretty good. However,
not bad.
Here's the sentence that's killing me. While ordinary beers in the United States average 4 to 5% alcohol by volume, just gloss over that. Malt liquors typically range from 6% up to 9%. That's nothing.
That checks.
It's nothing. We were just talking about triple IPAs. They knocked that out of the water. Don't even bother with malt liquors. Go straight to the barley wine and the triple IPAs. What's going on?
It's one of those things. Americans think they can drink, but Canadians know. We Canadians know we can drink.
We don't even think about it. It's just a thing. You just do it. Is it cold out? Is it wet? Yeah, fine. Have a drink.
Funny, 2012, me and a few friends, we lived in Boston for a few months. There's a whole thing. We could get visas to live in the States for the summer. It's great. And we were just like, we've heard of all these random beers from TV shows and stuff. And it's like, let's try them all. So we hit all the like Colt 45s, all of those ones.
How'd that go? Because that's the problem.
Great
because
summer.
what happens? What's famous? What's famous? Coors, Bud Light, and Colt 45. That is a really confusing mixture of drinks to have in front of you.
Desert of flavor. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of flavor,
Roasted.
can I just say, the Kilted IPA is not hitting it. This is... I have family members that like Bublés, those ridiculous Bublé seltzer drinks. And my favorite description of a Bublé is it tastes like TV static.
It does. It's flavored, but it's not sweetened.
It's bitter with no body. It tastes light as all get out, which is funny because it's 6.3. It's light. It's strong. This tastes like a fax gone wrong.
So yeah, like, and again, maybe I should try another one in fairness, because I think this is the first New Scotland beer I've tried.
I'll be right back.
And
Yeah, keep going.
realized what the taste is that I'm tasting. Have you guys ever been painting with watercolors and you're also like drinking a glass of water and you mix up the brush you've been cleaning out the glass you've been cleaning your paint brushes out with your water, and you get that just kind of like bitter, chalky, like dirty flavor? Maybe that's a unique experience to me, but I've definitely like accidentally drunk my glass of paint water on more than one occasion.
Okay.
Since childhood, and that's kind of what it's giving me.
Oh my god. I did sip the paint water when I was a kid, and this is exactly what that tastes like. You're right.
Right?
I mean, I'm artistic in a non-visual way now in my adulthood. But so it's been a while since I've had paint water, but I have accidentally sipped the paint water, and this is paint water.
Yeah, it's got that muddy, chemically kind of taste. Like, I don't know, something went wrong here.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah. I like to, I like to not judge a brewery until I've had at least 3 or 4. And even if New Scotland has just one in the LC and it's the IPA, I get it, guys. If you have anything, it's got to be the Kilted IPA. You got to have an IPA in the LC because that's just what everyone's buying right now and everyone's trying. But hopefully, and I want to get in there, I want to find out what else they're making, and I hope they say things like, oh yeah, we got this little sleeper, Bock or brown ale, or a little bit of a, the Hefeweizen over here that is pretty popular, but we don't sell it.
Which is basically alcohol.
So,
I think so. Maybe I should try that. What's that?
There's one of them that I had, and I do just remember having it once, and I was the same night I had like 3 or 4 of their beers. One of them was absolutely, I'd never go back, but the problem is I can't remember, and I'm a little too scared to find out again. But the rest of them I had are drinkable, definitely.
See, this is why everything that you have said thus far, I feel like I have a solution for you. For if you're interested in trying lots of different craft beers and you can't remember what you've had, this is why I started this.
Yeah,
just
fair.
so that I have some
Fair.
sort of record of what I liked and what I didn't like. And I know you could just, write a note on your phone, but no, 3 years of podcast, that makes way more sense to me.
Definitely.
I am currently in the online store for New Scotland Brewing and their beers and looking at their cans?
The 4 of them.
Lower.
Oh yeah, sorry, 3.
Lower.
No, okay. Maybe I'm looking. Maybe I'm in an outdated size.
I'm not seeing anything. I have 0. I have a blank page for their.
Okay, well I've got the St Andrews Cross XPA.
Oh wait, hang on. I'm at newscotlandclothing.ca.
There you go. That's probably why you can't
That's
find the
not what I
beer.
want. Hang on, just a second.
There is a Halifax with an E on the end, which is a 10%.
Ooh.
There's a Bonnie German Lagered Ale.
XPA.
And then there's a Fresh Start IPA. Now, I don't know how old this link is.
Fresh Start IPA, Bonnie German Lagered Ale, Halifax 10%. Yeah, well, this seems to be. Oh no, this is their most popular.
Can
I?
But that's all that seems to be on the.
Oh, son of a.
This is popular, the Kilted IPA.
Not even on here. Yeah, because if you go on that page and you go to beer and shop cans,
it goes over.
Comes up with 404 not found.
Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna go in.
Yeah.
I mean, I go to Dartmouth, so where the heck is their? Where the heck is the store?
It's not far from downtown. It's like 30 seconds up the hill, I think, from what I can remember.
Portland?
It's been a while. I can't remember.
I do find this. So I've had this New Scotland before, and I've gotten it a couple times. It to me, it does taste like a very generic light IPA. Like, pretty good. I would drink it. I wouldn't fuss over it. Like, I enjoyed it, but nothing too special to me. I'm gonna be play it safe and give this one a 7, like a 6.5.
I can't go anywhere near that high. If I go to a 6, I feel like that's too high. So I'm gonna give it. I think this is a 5.4 out of 10. It is not good.
It is very generic.
Having said that, I can't wait to go to their establishment.
This one is like probably around a 5.5 for me. And this is very rare for me. I honestly don't know if I'll finish this can. I hate to be a dick about it, but sorry guys, just not a
chug.
Burnside Brewing has the best idea now. A 19-ounce can of double IPA.
Yep. There you go, bud.
Happy Place?
Wait.
There it is.
I think it's called Happy Place.
There it is, the Happy Place Dippa. I haven't tried that one yet, I don't think.
I had one of them, was it sometime last week? And it's tasty.
Wait a minute.
It is good.
This is available at the NSLC. I have a question.
Now,
Ananda,
you say that it wasn't over the weekend.
Ananda, did you go to the Numinus one?
Are you watering your plants with your beer?
Yeah, that is exactly what he's doing.
I appreciate that. I commend you.
Ananda, did you go to the Numinus LC?
The Kenco LC.
Oh, because just down the street from where you're at, you can get both of these. All the ones that I actually plan to have.
But in all fairness, Ross, I think me, David, and Andy got the same 2 beers, and the other beers only you got.
True, I got the last 2. I didn't get the last 2.
I'm not like trying to say you were wrong or other. Like, it's like you did your research. It all comes down like, what do they have at the store, right? Like, you could look at the online. They say, oh, we have this online, and when you go there, it's like they don't have this online. Like, I think that's the case for all of us. And
I should be judged for what you're saying, because when my wife looks stuff up, I always reply to her, how could you possibly look up information about a Kings County business online and expect it to be accurate?
Well, in fairness, the NSLC is a province-wide server and thing. So, like, as someone who's managed a bar, and has ordered through the NSLC,
What?
they're normally reliable. But the only problem is you could look up something Monday morning, and by Monday midday, it's changed in store. So
Yeah, because everyone's going in to buy the Hell Bay IPA. That's what's going on.
on a
What?
Monday morning, of course they are.
What bar?
It really is a crapshoot.
Just the student bar at Acadia.
The Axe?
Yeah.
You managed the Axe?
Yes.
When?
2020 to 2023-ish. Yeah, 2020, 2023.
Okay. I suppose I have many sub questions, but no, I have one main question. Just one main question. Why does the Axe
Suck right
suck
now?
so much? At
Because the people who
everything.
did the renovations
All right.
basically turned it into a shit Boston pizza.
Do you know what? That's the best description of that room that I have heard in a very long time.
Right?
That hits the nail on the head. It had some personality before.
At the Axe?
It's funny, like
Yeah.
I didn't go to the Axe too often, like because like when I first started living in Wolf Hole, like I wasn't a university student, but I was of the same age.
You were
So
a
when
townie.
you go, I was a townie, yeah. So like if I wanted to get into the Axe, I had to get signed in by
Someone
an actual
signed in, yeah.
But I partied with university students, so we'd be like, "Oh, we're all going to the Axe," and then someone will like be delegated to me, like, "You have to try Kieran," and it was like one of those things, like, "Oh, I'm just going to party, have a few drinks, play some pool, listen to the music, and all that." Like, but it's not like Patty's or
Nothing would
Yeah.
sober me up at Patty's more than someone walking up to me and straight face saying, "You are now responsible for Kier."
No, it's like okay, we gotta get fucking ready here, buddy.
I'd get life preservers strapped around me like Mexican bullet bandoliers and stuff. I'd be ready to cook.
It's
I'd
like-
have 9 EpiPens and like
You would actually have to like tether me. You know what I mean? Like have a tether rope that connects me to you so you don't lose track of me back in my early 20s. Because I'd be like, oh, I'll see you like a good-looking
butterfly.
girl, start talking to her, or start playing pool, or start just drinking in the parking lot, like what have you, you know? Like, but like when I'm in my younger years, of course, but
Question.
like I didn't go to the Axe a whole lot, but like going to the Axe, I would have to be signed in by a student, but it'd be a good time. But I haven't been to the Axe in a long
I
time.
have so many questions for anyone who's ever signed you into the Anyway, I wish the sub itself and the Axe
Yeah.
itself was as central of a hub. And honestly, I loved the fact that a lot of places moved into Wolf. When I came to Acadia, you went to the Axe or you went to the Ville. That was it.
Yeah.
Patty's was a new addition, and then since then, now we've got tap rooms and other places, and everyone goes. You walk all the way down to the church. There's so many options. The open mic wasn't even a thing back then. It might not have been. And that you'd go to the Axe because that's kind of where the party was, and the sub was a great place to hang out. And now it's all dead, and I'm not.
I mean, I took over in COVID, right? So like,
that's brave.
Well, I needed a job.
No one can breathe on each other or leave their house. I
Exactly.
can handle this. Just a moment. I'll fix the economy. Does anyone have a third beer other than me? What do we got?
Oh yeah.
I am drinking Toller.
A Heart of Gold amber lager from Church Brewing.
Oh, hell
just
yeah.
because I don't feel like only drinking 2 beers, so I thought I'd give that one a try.
Well,
All right.
my plan was the other one at the very elusive LCs was the IPA from Hell Bay Brewing Company because I've never had it, and I do like a number of Hell Bays, and I've even gone down there.
I
I
looked
like
for the Hell's Bay IPA at the liquor store, and it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
I have the Tropical Storm Double IPA from Good Robot.
I feel like you have the best option out of everyone, and I love the Toller.
Okay, wait a minute. I saw that one at the liquor store. Ross sent me a list of I wanted a list of the beers for me to buy. I could have bought that one, but
I just bought it because I like it.
I wasn't stopping you from making purchases. You can buy a double IPA when you want it.
sorry, that's not what I'm saying. Like, I just kind of handled it very conservatively. Like, but I saw that beer, and I was like, if we're drinking that beer, I could have bought that beer. But I know this is a
No,
very
that makes
thing,
sense.
right?
When I think Kier, I think conservative beer buying. That is definitely what the synonymous relationship is.
Especially where you invited me on your show. I just want to like make sure I'm doing everything. I don't want to fuck up, right? I want to buy like.
It's way more fun when everyone does. Honestly, no, the complete lack of everything going right is on me. For oh wait, no, I did check. Numinus and Wolfville
I blamed the
theoretically said they
NSLC.
had all 4.
Yeah.
Windsor
I mean,
hey,
sucks.
like-
Windsor's the worst LC in the province.
It's like this time again. This time last year, remember we were doing the Christmas beers episode, and all the beers that you dropped off for me got stolen by a neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to like make up the beer. I had to buy like 3 separate beers that seemed Christmassy, but it was such a stretch.
There
and
was
then-
still a 25% chance that I would have believed they blew away in the storm because it was really windy that day. But there was a 75% chance, because I know where you live, that Sketchy Neighbors was the real culprit.
Yeah, it's called Pleasant Street, but really it's called Unpleasant Street.
Eh,
Which is kind of funny. Like sometimes I'll be coming home from work, I'll just be backing into my parking lot, and then I see Andy just popping up in my parking lot, like, "Hey, bud!" Like,
huh?
because you're doing music lessons with a neighbor of mine.
I work with one of your neighbors. Yeah.
Pardon?
I
I'll be
work
right back.
providing one-on-one support.
Yeah. Every now and then I see Andy in my parking lot and say hey to him and all that. Like, So that's
Sometimes lightsaber. Sometimes I'm just living large. I don't know.
I kind of assumed it was like I think you told me it's like you mentioned the lightsaber duels, but like is it sometimes music lessons too? I don't know what you can say or whatnot, but
Sometimes, yeah, like sometimes we'll do some music together. He's interested in singing and like tends to rely on music a lot for his well-being and stuff. So
How come
yeah.
no one's
Yeah.
invented musical lightsaber duels?
I mean, I feel like the background music to a lot of the iconic Star Wars duels are, you know, as iconic as the duels themselves, like Duel of the Fates in Episode 1.
Yeah. I will defend to the so I am an OG Star Wars guy,
Oh.
but I am a very forgivable Star Wars guy, but like Duel of the Fates for Mace Windu and Obi-Wan versus like Darth Maul. Like that's a great soundtrack. That's a great lightsaber duel.
Is there anything further to that, or you're
Yeah,
just
so I'm actually going to be
I
part
guess
of.
we're talking about it. Like I don't want to like. Okay, I do like the sequel trilogy, but I'm not gonna go. I'm not gonna defend it. I'm not gonna die on that hill. I just
Jar Jar is. I think we can all agree
It's poorly written, but I still like the big space battles. You know what I mean?
It's Star Wars. We've been missing space battles for a very long time. I have a follow up to lightsaber musical duels. I have had my lightsaber musical duels before, and you'll never guess with who. Jesse Potter. He had a series of those. They had the notes on them. They were the tubes
Oh yeah,
that
yeah.
had like, this is a G, this is a C, and we were like just hanging out playing some music, and we said, what if you choreographed a song of a doom doom doom, and you choreographed a song of of sword fight with pipe music duels.
That sounds awesome.
And
How did that go?
well, it's one of those things where between Jesse and I think he and I, no, myself more so, I'm very good with coming up with the idea. I'm very bad at following through on the idea. He said
Yeah.
4 years after
I resemble that remark.
podcast on drinking beer, but that's different. Beer is addictive. Lightsaber
But-
duels are less so.
You were saying you have like lightsaber duels that are like rhythmic and musical. Have you ever played Beat Saber for the VR?
No, because it frightens me.
It looks like
Okay, so
plus
it's one of those things. Like I do have a VR. As a gamer, it's one of those things. Like I should be exploring it more often. I've have tried to trickle, but I do have a VR headset, and I have Beat Saber, where you have like lightsabers that you hit squares to like remember like Guitar Hero and Rocksmith, but it's like it's VR, so you just have these lightsabers that you hit these squares musically.
Yeah. Can we have a blunt and Beat Saber night some night?
We definitely can,
All right, sweet.
Because you're there in the parking lot anyway. I mean, it's just inevitable that this would happen. You just walk in.
And then walk next door and be like, fucking go.
Yeah, absolutely. It's all about just invite people in. Hey, you like lightsabers and stuff? Cool. Because Kier's got Guitar Hero, but for swords and cubes.
Yeah. Basically.
You guys are crazy. The Hell Bay IPA, or who had this and didn't like it? Kier? I like this.
I have not had the Hell Bay.
I'll take your word for it. This is decent. It's like got lost somewhere between a Molson and a Rickard's Red.
Ouch.
Actually,
that is
no.
not the compliment you think it is.
It's like it's maybe a little better than that. It's like
Okay.
those are both better beers, but in terms of like the level of darkness is kind of what I was trying to explain.
Oh, the color, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
we drink things and we think, oh, this is a bit more like an amber, and it's really hard to find an amber ale. It does not happen.
I wish I weren't, such an uncouth citizen as to be drinking beer for the can so I could show you the color in my glass. But I looked at glasses and I didn't have a proper beer glass at Mom's house, so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to be a can drinking ape man.
It
tonight.
is fully unscripted, and the involvement of the three of you is, I have to say, very much appreciated by myself. I am so happy that you guys could waste a bit of time with me, just having a few beers, chatting about them, and sharing opinions on the Star Wars trilogies.
Hey man, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, I wouldn't consider it time wasted. So
Oh yeah, no, it's always a good time.
David, how is your? That is the Good Robot Dippa, and it has caught my eye more than once. I cannot wait.
it is. Yeah, no, I think you'll enjoy. Like, it's called Tropical Storm, and it lives up to the name.
Okay.
There's nice kind of tropically fruit flavors to it. It uses mosaic hops, which are some of my favorite IPAs and double IPAs in the past. How many years have used the mosaic hops?
I still miss the Brewing Mosaic IPA. That was
Oh,
so,
that was one of my favorite.
Which one?
like passion fruit, guava, like notes to it. Oh, so good.
Where
Yeah,
where
it
was
was
it?
unreal.
Where was that from?
Bad Apple Brewing in Berwick.
In Berwick.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
that was the one that raised money for Mosaic
For Down
form
syndrome.
of Down syndrome. Yeah, where
Yeah.
Mosaic it's
Yeah.
where it gets a dual was that homonym? How does that work? It's or a dual something.
Also, wasn't that the one that did the Russian Imperial Stout that we all really liked?
Rasputin.
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh my God.
No.
Black and Tackle. The
But it
Rasputin
had a picture of
Imperial Stout
Rasputin on
is
the-
from Big Spruce.
Oh, that's right. That's right. That's
But
right.
the Black and Tackle from Bad Apple remains our only 11 out of 10 beer on this show.
Nice.
So good.
Because it's
I
just
will-
like
Oh.
it's like drinking a hollow chocolate bunny at
Mm.
Christmas time. It's just outstanding.
Anyways, it's a work night for me, so I got to sign out. But you guys have a good night. Rest of your night.
Thanks, Kier.
Thanks, Rod.
Take care.
Thank-
Take care.
Thank you for having me on. Anyways, you guys have a good night.
Do your best.
Well, I didn't quite get to the Candid Glory Days Session IPA, but I got some other Session IPAs. At least this, honestly, the Hell Bay IPA that no one else could fetch. I think it's my favorite of the night. This is
Okay.
this is what I consider the introduction one,
Right.
where it doesn't have the bitter. It's very smooth. It's got a little bit of a hop profile up front, and it's freaking we're like a 6.3. This is this is just it's so smooth. This reminds me
wow.
of some of the other really smooth IPAs that I've had that you could only get at the location, like Backstage Brewing in Stellarton, or
Mm.
no, the Sober Island Wavebreaker is in the LCs again, and it's
Okay.
really smooth, a little bit hoppy, and just really kind of a base level. Oh, what if it was a hop flavored beverage, but just really
Yeah.
strong and it knocks you down?
Interesting. Interesting.
So this is getting good vibes.
Yeah, that's good. Okay.
me.
And this Hell Bay is what? South Shore.
Liverpool. Now they've got
Okay.
a couple of good ones. They have the English ale that's sometimes in the LCs. The dark cream ale is one of my favorites. Very much like a dark lager, the Schwarzbier, but slightly around how you
Okay.
do it. But a dark cream ale, and I had so much of that one night because I was just going when I was hopping from place to place with a friend of mine, and everywhere had it. And I was like, "Oh, we'll just keep feeding that to me. That's amazing." This is very good. So high eights, maybe into nines. So, but I think 8-9 for the Hell Bay.
All right. Well, good to know. Good to know. I'll definitely have to keep an eye out for it if it
feel
ever gets
bad
up this way.
That I didn't quite get to the Glory Days Session IPA, but we'll get there soon. And I mean we're going one
Oh,
at a time, so whatever.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But thank you, David and Kier and Anna, for being here on the show. We're here every Wednesday night, about 8 to 9. Next week, we're hopefully doing our, if I add my 7s to weekdays. Next week is going to be our Christmas special. We're going to try all the Christmas ones that are in there. There's a few kind of, sweet flavored stouts and whatnot. These double chocolate stouts. We'll see how that goes. And you can check out our YouTube page, youtube.com/@drinknsdry. We're Drink Nova Scotia Dry in all the podcasty places. And if you go straight to the source, it's drinkns.unsupervised.blah. But thanks to James, Party Time Brewing, Ian being in the chat as well, for stopping in and hanging out with us. But thank you for watching, and we'll hopefully see you next week. Good night.